Buddy, we are now live. How's everybody doing? Sharon Stacks in the house. What's going on, guys? We're gonna have call-ins tonight. Welcome in, welcome in. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What? Where's Nancy? What is going on? What's the latest updates? I want to break down a few things tonight. I'm gonna break down a couple things tonight. We just make sure everything's good here. All messages. Why is it giving me a hard time again? All messages. All right, we're back. We're back. All right. Hello, everybody. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on here, but hello, Palon. U.S. Grace, how are you? How's everybody doing on this Wednesday? Good to see you, Julie. How's everybody doing? And welcome to the show. We got a good one tonight, guys. And, I'm going to cut down a couple important things tonight is what we're going to talk about. Kay Flowers, good to see you. Allergies are better. Allergies are better. Elbows a little bit better. So we're going to live. I think we're going to make it for a while. Victor, I got the water. I'm going to need more. We'll probably be on for a little while tonight. So Victor always reminds me, stay hydrated. We have Tootsie in the house. Hello, Tootsie. Good to see Tootsie. Welcome everybody in, and then the show will start in a few minutes. We have a good one tonight. And what I've been doing lately is I've been love when I see the flag, Victor. I love the Patriots. I love America. And I got to tell you guys, I was debating because we got a lot of stuff going on right now. Speaking of the American flag and Iran, man, a lot of stuff is breaking, guys. I don't know. We'll see how I feel up to. We might have to do two different lives or two lives in one. We'll see. Because as I came on and I promised everybody about this live, Iran is, they're fighting back. They are really, I think Trump is underestimated. But anyhow, we'll talk about that maybe at the end, or we'll do another live. Good to see. Thank you for that, Rose. Appreciate it. Kay Flowers, that was very, very nice of you to start the live up. I appreciate it. I really do. A couple things I want to break down. One thing is appreciate you guys taking the time and joining us tonight and hitting the like. I know there's a lot of streamers continuing the Nancy Guthrie. But let me just say this right off the bat. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think this case will go cold. And the biggest reason is this. Back in the 70s, where is Sal going at tonight? Marissa, how are you? Good to see you. Iran released an American. Yeah, the stuff is breaking as soon as I came on, but I'm a man of my word, and I promise everybody, I gave enough notice to talk about Nancy Guthrie. But if somebody just keeps their eye on what's going on, we'll go ahead and break over to that. Reason why this case won't go cold is in the 70s and the 80s, I mean, even the 90s, we had what? The newspaper. And if was there people, missing back then? Absolutely. I don't recall somebody missing in their 80s and then taking this long. But nonetheless, once that newspaper stopped delivering the breaking news and the FBI, when the federal's gotten, in a kidnapping case, the FBI gets involved, right? Well, once the police, the sheriff stops, then there's no more leads. It's cold. But we have YouTubers. We got boots on the ground. You have all the streamers that were there. And I have a feeling they're going to be back. In fact, I will be making arrangements. I will be there sooner than later. I don't want to say what date, guys, because I want to kind of, there's some stuff I'm digging into. But nonetheless, let me get to my point, is as long as you have Nancy Grace's, JLR, and I know I'm missing a lot, but all these big streamers and little guys like me, as long as we're talking about Nancy Guthrie, what happened? Where is she? Did they dig her up in a hole? Are they getting close? We're going to go over some of that as well on today's podcast live. As long as you have us, also everybody that's on here, 48 of us, and other channels as we speak, 48, 46, as long as you got people talking about this, it's not a cold case. Now, a lot of these might be confused. Well, wait a minute, Sal. We're not police. Well, some of us are on here, right? We're not FBI. Some of us are. It's not that, folks. Any little detail, somebody on here can make something that might sound small that I haven't heard of, and that could be bingo. And trust me when I tell you, there's police people watching this channel. There's Pima County watching this channel. For sure they're watching JLR. So what I'm trying to say is, one little thing can come out, you know, and I forgot Chris McDonald and the interview room, you know, and I almost forgot about them. As long as we cover this once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, it's out there. So the case will not go cold, if that makes sense. It will eventually, in my opinion, get solved. Now, speaking, you see my thumbnail? I heard from a reliable source that early on, the FBI approached Sheriff NANOS. He said, "You have sniffers. You have sniff dog. Are you digging? You have a place you're going to go?" And NANOS walked away. He walked away right from the FBI. He's like, he ignored them. They were just saying, you know, you have a location. What do you think? But, you know, that was passed. And they're still, as we approach now, I mean, it's what, 5.5 months now, I believe, something like that. You still don't hear Pima County. And as far as I'm concerned, Pima County has washed their hands, or did they? And just forwarded all to the FBI. But the FBI said, hey, is it worth, you know, maybe searching? Is it worth, you know, in a couple miles and, you know, and having the hound dogs and the dogs out there? And again, Chris NANOS walked away. So we're going to talk about that. Hey, Connie, good to see Connie. Godfather Part 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to talk about that. But another thing I want to talk about, if I could, guys, let me have a cigar here. Got to have my cigar. So I must be feeling a little bit better because I have a cigar. Keep a buck. How are you, my friend? This hat is at least 26 years old. 26, keep a buck. Because I moved here. Anyhow, it's about 26 years old. So I want to go over this. I go and watch a lot of YouTube streamers, and there's a lot of great ones out there. And there's some that I'm not real interested in, right? But what I'm seeing is this from the chat. Lots of people in the chat are saying, perhaps there was somebody in that house. We touched on this the other night, but you ready for this? I'm saying this. Perhaps the mask guy, the perp, the man, whoever he might be, Italian, Latino, Caucasian, didn't look African American, whoever that might be, never made it in the house. That we were all thrown off. See, guys, this was not their first rodeo. These people, and I'm going to continue to say, in my opinion, plural, were working on this for many months and maybe a year. And another thing we don't know, and I was watching a great video with an FBI, I think her name was Maureen. She's good. I'm not taking anything away. But they were going with AI. You know, guys, what can these retired FBI, no disrespect, law enforcement, what can they do more than us? I know a lot of you are saying, Sal, that's a stupid question. A lot. Well, not really. Well, they might not have, we have the Apple iPads, we have our smartphones, we have our gadgets and all, but they're enhancing things, right? And you know, and with contrast and all. But what's happening is they're adding in vehicles, they're adding in a pickup truck. Get the hell out of here with all that shit. We don't even know if there was a vehicle there. Now, in the chat, we don't know if a vehicle was ever there. In fact, I'm going to go a little farther. We got to go on the facts. Is there any make? I mean, we heard about a Toyota. We know what A&T drove, right? I think there was a Honda, right? We don't know if it was a Cadillac. We don't know if it was a pickup truck. We don't even know if it was a vehicle there. We don't know. In fact, I want to go back to this. I want to go back to A&T, son-in-law, and Annie taking mom home after a sit-down and a dinner, perhaps dessert, and Tommaso, Mr. T, drives her home. I still don't think she never made it back in the house. So we are starting to analyze things with all this AI and put in a vehicle and getting so enhanced with the mask guy. All we know, ladies and gentlemen, there was a man that was about 6 foot something. You guys can look it up, I forgot, but over 6 foot, not short like me, who was at that door, who was really comfortable. And as far as I'm concerned, and he was so comfortable, and he could have been high, Marissa, he could have been high, he could have been intoxicated, but he was so comfortable that he knew that it was all going to be like throw us all off. It's almost like they were already 10 steps ahead. Just like, you know, they're just like soccer has Europeans, let's just face it, I love the United States, but they're like 10 years ahead of the United States of America, right? They were ahead, and it was like to throw us off, knowing that's why he was so relaxed. He was relaxed because he never went in that house. We have no proof that he went in that house. As far as I'm concerned, there was an individual in that house. Could have been a male, could have been a female, could have been white, could have been black, could have been a family member who was sitting there for 30 minutes, an hour, maybe even 3 hours, sitting there, standing there, sitting, gloves on, not touching anything, knowing the whole house, just looking around, every now and then look out the window, not touching anything. There's no fingerprints. There's no DNA in the house. There was no signs of blood in the house. Nancy Guthrie medication was gone. So, you know, when I see all these retired FBI, again, no defense, and law enforcement, like my uncle, who woke me up today. He said, what proof? We have no proof. But, you know, they put an image, because we can put an image of, this is good, by the way, guys. It's a Cutwater drink here. Really good. You would think I'm going to advertise this drink, but it's very Cutwater vodka, very good. But it'd be like taking this can, putting it close, throwing some more hair on my head, making this hat look newer, putting a vehicle behind us, and then God forbid something happens to Sal. So, you know, I like all this AI, and I'm sure it will work out in the long run, but we can't, ladies and gentlemen, get lost in all this technology, because old school in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 60s, in the 90s, it worked. It worked. There was no DNA in 1985. There was no DNA in 1986 or 1987. DNA didn't come out to the late 80s, early 90s. So we need to rely on what we have. What do we have? We have a guy who's about 6'2", medium built, brown eyes, that could change in the dark, at the door, who was really relaxed, who could have been intoxicated, high, or whatever, and felt so comfortable, almost like smiling behind that mask, like so comfortable, playing around with flowers. Meanwhile, just for conversation purpose, a possibility, there was somebody in that house the night that he came up. And again, they're trying to say it's a pickup truck. I forget what channel it was, but they're saying it's a pickup truck, 4x4, built in the 1980s, made in the 1980s. Who the hell are you kidding me? Where are we going with all this, folks? Basic. Let's go back to basic. This is not hard. Bring out the dogs. Find the remains. And I'm going to get a little graphic. Well, I got to be careful. But if you have small kids maybe listening in, maybe you want to put them in the other room. And maybe some of you aren't going to take this, but I'm going to say it tonight. But I'm going to wait about a minute, just in case, give you guys a chance to put the kids away. All right, let me get into some comments here. Andrew, how are you? DeJones, good to see you. Yeah, I'm breaking down stuff, guys. I just go on what we kind of have. Now, we don't have somebody sitting in the house, right? But it kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense that somebody would be that relaxed. Who the hell would be that damn relaxed unless they were on something? I wouldn't be that relaxed. There's no way in hell I'd be that relaxed. No way, folks. So what I was going to say is this. Older vehicles have no tracking. No, I get all that. No. You're correct. I understand where the FBI, I think her name was Marina. I forget her station. Let me see if they were just analyzed. It was her. I think it was a retired detective. It was all law enforcement. But what I'm saying is, there's no image out there. There's no photo of any kind of truck or vehicle. The only vehicle we know is Annie and Tommaso, A&T, the vehicle that dropped off. We know that, right? We know that that's 100% dropped off that beautiful 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Now, hopefully you guys put your kids in the other room. Ladies and gentlemen, the body is not one body in one spot, in my opinion. Okay, you have detached parts of the body. Okay, I don't think there was too many parts because it's time, and time's an exception. I mean, you got to go very quick, but you know, you probably have a torso here, you know, and at least 3 parts, and I'm sure you probably have 2 of those 3 parts. Let's just be honest, guys, and they're probably in that general location, 5 miles, 3 miles. And again, if you're new to my channel, like and subscribe and come on board. I'm going to share something else with you. And I know my beautiful wife, who we discussed this before, disagrees with me, and that's great. She still thinks Nancy remains or in Mexico. That's fine. Anybody else thinks she's in Mexico? But I'm going to give you another reason why she's not in Mexico, what I said. You got to get rid of the body as quick as you can. 2-3 pieces. Maureen O'Connell, thank you. And I'm not calling her out, guys. She's amazing. She's good. She's good. And if you just looked at that, I'm just saying we're going too far on analyzing it with all this technology that we have, you know, on air, contract, and you know, we can highlight anything and put anything anywhere. It's just crazy. Yeah, 10 miles away. In any event, to go to Mexico, I've said this many times, and for those, I know I've said it over 100 times, but for people, anybody's new here tonight, just put a number 1 if you're new on the channel. Put a number 1 if you're new. If there's too much of a risk to drive an hour to Mexico, no way in hell they're going to risk that. I don't care if it's 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, or 4 in the afternoon. Too much of a risk. They're going to drive a few miles away, basic. Hey, Aaron Scott, good to see you. And they're going to, you know, dispose the bodies, parts. And also, they're not going to go a mile into the desert. They're not going to go a mile into the desert. They're going to go about 50 feet. We got to think like, folks, we got to think like the bad guys and bad girls, right? We got to get inside of these sickos. And we got to do more for mental health. But whatever it might be. Or it was just pure greed and money, right? Regardless, you got to think like they would think. Hey, we got to do this quick. Okay, let's go. We can't drive fast. Let's drive medium speed. Keep the speed limit. Oh, there's no cameras out here. I get that. Let's go slow. Let's drive slow. Let's get the hell out of these foothills. Okay, now we're out of the foothills. Now, what I understand from 857 Tucson, by the way, what a great personality, that amazing, and who lives out there. What I understand, I hope I'm not putting words in his mouth, once you get out of those foothills, there's not a pharmacy or food because of the what they, I guess it's a committee that votes on this. So I don't think they hit the first grocery store, what I'm trying to say, or gas station until you probably go a mile away. So now they're like, okay. So my point is, because a lot of people are saying, well, come no cameras picked them up. I even said it. Well, now that I'm understanding, once they get out of there and they get out of those back arteries, I call them back arteries, and they get into a highway, right, or a straight street. So my whole point is, soon as they get out of there, they're going to drive about 5 miles, right? And then I'm not going to get into the whole graphic. I already told you the body parts. I don't need to get into how they did it. Just use your imagination on how they did it, okay? Obvious they didn't do that in the house because there's no blood. So we can rule that out, right? Let's just go on what we can rule. There's no blood. Obvious they didn't do it outside because there is blood, but that would be a lot of blood. So they had to do it very quickly. And I say, again, there's no way impossible that one person carried out this. And I know a lot of you are saying, wait a minute though, Sal, this is 5.5 months. If you had 2 people, 3 people, don't people rat? We're going to get into that. So like and subscribe. We're going to talk about the rat stuff. So they drive 5 miles, 10 miles, like somebody says, and they put a body part here. They go another 3 miles, maybe off another location. But I don't understand why Pima County did not ever go out in these areas with the dogs. I don't get it. Or did they? Or did they? Because I don't understand. And that's why a lot of people in here think this is a big cover-up. Huge cover-up. How many in here, to this day, a little over 5 months now, think that this is a cover-up? Just don't make no damn sense. But anyhow, needless to say, that's probably what's happening. There's no way in hell they would take that chance and go all the way to Mexico or New Mexico or Las Vegas or another part of Arizona. It's right there. Her remains are in that area. At the very most, 15 miles away. And it's not going to be out 3, 4 miles out in the desert. We got to think like the perps. They wouldn't risk that, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way they would go more than 500 feet. And the whole ransom stuff, we talked about this before with Galata and Tommaso. So who in the chat still thinks family is involved? Or did you think family was involved a month ago, 2 months ago from the beginning, and now you're kind of like thinking, ruling the family out, and these were just horrible people to do this to this 84-year-old woman? Hello, Ralph. Family from the beginning. Family? Anybody else? Not sure? Hey, Sharon Johnson, good to see you. We have 2 Sharons in here. Family from the beginning. Marine girl, how are you? Jill, money, 85% of the time, Jill. Connie says, I believe it's the family along with the sheriff NANOS. Yeah, Connie, you're thinking like me. I mean, is he that stupid? Is he that much of a scazziata in Italian? Could anybody be that stupid? I mean, think about it, folks. There's 140 of us in here. There's no way in hell that we don't have the dogs. We could be our first day on the job. And the first thing after you huddle up and say, okay, what do we have? What do we have? We have a missing person. Okay, what do we know? What do we know? Let's get the dogs. Sniffers. Let's go now. Get the dogs out. But the question I have is, if it is Pima County involved, some way, shape, and form, I'm not saying NANOS was in the front door. But we need to wake up, because how the hell are they that damn stupid? Now, I've looked into other cases, and there's been other sheriffs that don't want the FBI involved. So I'm not defending this piece of shit. But eventually, you got to take the politics away and say, come on, FBI. Step in. We need your help. FBI steps in on kidnapping, by the way. And they wanted to. Kash Patel, remember, President Trump wanted to. President Trump, let's do it. Let's find this woman. And matter of fact, President Trump and Savannah, on political sides, they were on total opposite sides. But President Trump put that aside. And I don't want to make this politics, but this is just the truth. Fat guy, how are you, Ardell? I see your comment tonight. Good to see you. Am I in Tucson? Well, first of all, Mark, how are you? Good to see you. I am not in Tucson. I'm in Las Vegas, which the humidity is 30%. But I intend to go in there, and when I'm there, you guys will see me live, and you'll say, oh, wow, he's there. I'm not going to give any kind of notification until I'm there, and then I'll be there. And I'm going to ask some difficult questions to Pima County. Insurance money. Yeah, I want to get back to the money. Let's not get lost, guys, because when you have homicides and you have kidnapping cases, whether they're child custody with kids, that breaks my heart when you have child custody and people go to the extreme on unaliving the husband or the wife. That breaks my heart. But in most of these cases, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, 2 men, 2 women, whatever your cup of tea is, and something like this happens, 9 times out of 10, it's about money. And I'm sure the FBI is definitely keeping their eye on the whole entire family, all of them. But I want to get back to somebody being in the house, but I'm going to get into some comments real quick. I want to get back to see, because I asked this question the other night about somebody being in the house, and some of you, I think it was split in half. Oh, the humidity here is 30%. It's high for Vegas. I want to say hello to Not For Kids. How are you? I'm feeling okay. I'm a little bit better. I have an appointment tomorrow with the oncologist. Sorry, oncologist. Orthopedic. Are they lime green parrots? They're blue. Yeah, and the other one's like a lime green with some orange, the Canors. Natasha, how are you? I would like to know why the family is not on foot themselves searching. Let me read the rest of this. They are on a leave of absence. If it was me, I would be every day, night looking. Yeah, Natasha, by the way, Natasha, always great to see you along with everybody in here. I'd love to hear from you on the phone. I'm going to get you to call in one evening. Natasha, if it was my mom, my dad, if I had a stepmom, I don't, or if anybody, or any loved ones, or even a neighbor, or even somebody that's on my street that I particularly don't talk to for other reasons. I don't hate anybody. I would be out there. I don't understand that, Natasha, that at least in the beginning, or at least once a week, Natasha, how could they not be out there and they have the money? Even if you don't have the money, you find the money. Let's just say they didn't have the money. They would raise $10,000 in a blink of an eye. It's not that hard to come up with $10,000, and you have your own private investigator. In fact, a lot of people would probably I do it for free. And get the dogs out there, get them lots of water, and get them all out there sniffing. So you can't help to think that Pima County is involved. Maybe not directly involved. Maybe they never wanted this to happen. Maybe they just wanted to keep everything nice and do their domestic violence, and their DUI, their task force on narcotics, going on with operation. They didn't expect this. I'm not thinking they were directly they were involved on the kidnapping, but I think they know what the hell's going on. And this here, where's my wallet? Money. It's making them, it's so corrupted, folks. We see it in politics. We see it on the Republican Party. We see it in the Democrat Party and in between parties. We see it in mayors. We see it in senators. We see it in governors. I think you guys get it. So that's what I'm trying to say. I don't think Sheriff NANOS was involved as far as directly involved. It is, Connie. It's crazy on how people aren't out there looking. Now, I guess the big question would be, well, Sal, I'll ask this question before somebody does. And if you do ask this question, doesn't matter. I love you anyhow. We don't know if the family was ever out there looking. All we do know is JLR investigates, Alex Criminal Network, 857 Tucson, Dad's Going Wild, and I might be missing The Juice and other ones. If I'm missing, if you're on this channel and I missed you, I apologize. The streamers were out there. They were out there 7 days a week, a couple hours here, a couple hours there. And guess what? They had their phones, their smartphones, their iPhones. They had drones. They had News Nation. You had Fox. You had CNN. We didn't see any of that, right? So we're assuming that the family never did anything as far as looking. Maybe I'm being hard on the family. Maybe so. But again, like Natasha said and Connie says, and I'm reading the chat. If it was our mom and dad, our brother, I'll stretch it out to my neighbor. I'm looking. I'm looking. I mean, this is going to sound really silly, and you guys can go ahead and slap me right now before I say it, but I'm going to say it anyhow. My wife, something happened about a month ago. The kids were all calling me up. Mom's in an accident. Stay with me, guys. I'm going to get to a point. Whoa. 911 calls me. Hi, this is 911. Is this Sal Capano? Yes, it is. Can I help you? My heart's dropping. There's a possibility your wife had an accident. Holy crap. Where? Well, and they gave me the street. Stay with me, guys, please. The street is behind me. You guys can hear the cars when I'm doing my line. Holy shit. I look in the garage, I see her car. Well, her car, oh, I don't see my Jeep. Shit. It was like 7 in the morning. I get my sneakers on. Blah, 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 blah. As I'm going outside to get into her vehicle, or actually, no, I'm not getting any vehicle. I'm going to go walk. And I'm walking, my heart's pounding, because she just got in an accident not too long ago. And all of a sudden, I see the Jeep, and I say, whoa, I see my wife. You're okay? She goes, yeah, what's wrong? I said, I thought you had an accident. She goes, will you stop it? Because I had one accident, I'm going to have another. I said, well, no, the police called me. Where? She didn't believe me, so I showed the phone, 911. The tracking on the iPhone has a track. Her phone, stay with me, was on the, wherever. I think it was I have a Jeep Gladiator. It was on the back of the, it was in the back. And it fell off. She drove with it. And it fell off. It cracked. Demolished. So my point is, I went and I'm looking for that phone. It was driving me nuts. I'm like, I have insurance. I'm going to get a new phone. Found the phone. Actually, they fixed the phone. I couldn't believe it. You seen that phone? But anyhow, it was driving my wife so nuts. She says, I love that favorite cover. I said, we'll get you another cover. We'll get you another phone. We get you another Jeep. You can't get another, if you lose our life. But the whole point is, I didn't even give up on that. In fact, I'll even go a little farther. 2 years prior, there was a little girl in the neighborhood who was missing for 48 hours. By the way, 48 hours is crucial. The whole neighborhood didn't even know this little girl. We went out looking. She was found. She was at a friend's house. So why aren't they looking for their mom? 5.5 months. Why aren't they looking? Look. What's that tell you? Well, it tells you a couple things. It tells you either they don't care about their mom, they weren't close to their mom, or some involvement. Some involvement of maybe all of them, maybe one, maybe two, maybe none. I don't understand it. They seem to love their mom. They talk very highly of their mom. They have tears in their eyes. They're grieving mom. Mom meeting Nancy Guthrie, but they're not looking. Hey, Greg, how are you? But my whole point is you look. You look. Dogs. Anybody in here lose your dog? Now, dogs usually make it back home. Have you ever lost a cat? And they're animals. We love our animals. Don't you look? Don't you look day 2? Day 3? Day 4? Don't you look for them? So. Sorry to hear that, Lindsay. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, they break your heart. Absolutely, Aaron Scott. I love cats. I love dogs. But, you know, the whole thing is, it just doesn't make sense in this whole thing on why they're not giving more thoughts and looking. Now, I want to get back. I'm going to read some comments, and then we're going to talk about, I asked this 2 nights ago, and I apologize last night. I needed a day off, guys. No, we lost the bird. Fact, Aaron, we lost Mango. We had Mango for 3 months. My wife was devastated. The bird flew right out. We looked for a week straight. We put it on mailboxes. Oh, that's another thing. We put it on the mailbox. We went to other places. We put them on the poles. The family didn't even do much of that. The streamers did. The streamers, that's why I don't think this case will go cold, because the streamers care more than the family. In my eyes. But I want to get into the person possibly being in the house for 30 minutes, an hour or 2 or longer. It's starting to kind of make sense to me. But I can be 100% off. I think I'm going to get this again. I'm not a big drinker, guys. But when I do drink, what was that commercial? It's going to be Cutwater Vodka. Pretty good. Not bad. Not too strong. Gluten-free. Are you kidding me? Gluten-free. Only thing, it's a little sweet. Julian, welcome in. Says low IQ content. Nobody's providing new information or suspects. Interesting point, Randy. Yeah, I want to get back to inside the house. So, after the first one tastes better. So, I'm going to ask this. I asked this on Monday. In the chat, put a 1 if you think there was somebody in that house while Nancy was at dinner with her sister and her son-in-law. And put a 2, no. And then we're going to talk about what that means. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because, like I said, I've been going to other live streams, and it seems like that's in the chat. People are talking about it. And I see some 2s, some 1s, about split in half. That front door was locked. Remember? Blood in the front door locked. But for me, it kind of makes sense because the perp was just too damn relaxed. I actually think the person in the house was the person to unalive that beautiful lady, Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old. Where is Nancy? Why Nancy? Why January? Why February 1st? Why that house? On that full moon, February 1st, why her? Why anybody, but why Nancy? Connie says, I don't think she ever even made it home that night from A&T's house. Yeah, I don't think so either, Connie. I don't think so either. And I know you're saying, okay, Sal, I'm saying this, Connie. But why would somebody be in the house? Because things could have went wrong. You know. And by the way, I talked to an FBI friend of mine. If you put your phone on airplane mode, okay, there's no internet, you're invisible. But I don't think they had cell phones. I don't think the perp had a cell phone. Whoever did this horrific crime had cell. But could they have been working with walkie-talkies? Remember the walkie-talkies? They still make them. I know that because when I go camping, when I don't have any internet, I have a walkie-talkie. You put it on 1, 2, or 3. Could they have been using that? And what's this got to do, responding with Connie's comment, is perhaps the real perp was in the house and something went wrong from that dinner back, either purposely or accidentally. And they communicated with the alleged possible conversation purpose only in that Foothills, beautiful Nancy Guthrie's home. Perhaps sitting in a sofa on plastic or standing there for 30 minutes to an hour. You guys get it. And say, hey, we have a problem. What's the problem? A problem. And that problem occurred where she was already unalive. Or no one was in the house, as Connie says. They drive that 5 mile back from A&T. She was still alive after dinner. They had a dinner. Hey, I want to stop for a second, say hello to Joe. Not last night, Joe. I needed a break. And so they had Nancy, they had dinner, perhaps dessert. They drive him back. And just in case they were being followed, again, allegedly, conversation, entertainment purpose. And they took that turn. I say they. I'm ready to call myself out. Ready? Let me call myself out. There's no they, Sal. There's no they. It was Tommaso. Annie apparently, well, so we don't know. I mean, Annie could have been, but supposedly Annie was in her house, and then it happened. Tish, welcome in, says, I think it was a setup. Anybody else agree with Tish? It was a setup? I'll go a little farther, Tish. I'm going to add on. Setup by family and Pima County. Set up by family and Pima County. Not for kids, says yes. And also, guys, we're going to take some call-ins. If anybody wants to call in, there's the number right there, 702-447-9027. Guys want to give a total something that I haven't heard before or we haven't heard before? Anything that perhaps we've never heard before, would love to hear from you. Just give you guys a heads up, if I hear any words with F, I will disconnect. Not that I'm bothered by it, but there's people on here that might be bothered by it. I know a lot of you are okay with it, but also YouTube has a problem with it. F is okay if you're 4 or 5 minutes into the conversation, all right? I'm just putting that out there. And also, I want to talk about what's actually happened with Nancy Guthrie. Where's Nancy? Why Nancy? Rosalind, Tomato, Tommaso. I would love to call you, but I'm a married woman. Whoa! But that's okay. I'm a married man. That came out wrong. Let me call myself out. We're talking crime. A beautiful woman. My goodness, why is it taking so damn long? Why isn't anything coming out from the lab? What is taking them so long? Nothing. They don't have nothing. Connie says, cops spend more time at A&T's house and are in the neighborhood. Also, they look their car and tore it apart. It's true. Along with those coyotes howling that JR called on the tape. I remember that in the back areas. I remember JR says, you hear the coyotes? Woo! They were howling. Welcome in, Big Mick. Steve, welcome in. Inside 7907, welcome in. Good to see you. How's everybody doing on this Wednesday? Happy Wednesday. If you're coming in, we're just going over a possibility of who was in it. Could have been somebody in the house. Did the perp actually make the mask guy actually go in the house? What do you guys think? One or two? One, the mask guy made it in that house. Two, he never made it in. And he is, I believe he's a male. Two, never made it in. One, he made it in. We got a 2, we got a 1. I wish I could do the polls. For some reason, it doesn't allow me. He was a decoy. Thank you, Steve. Steve. Couldn't think of that word. It was driving me nuts. I know you're laughing, Steve. That's all right. Laugh at me. Decoy. Forget what the hell I called it, but I didn't call it the proper word. Decoy. Decoy. I think the masked guy was a decoy. All right, Sal, we heard you already. Yeah, I think so, Steve. I think so. I mean, there is that possibility he could have been high on something. He could have been drunk. See, drunk, I'm going to rule drunk out. Because when you're drunk, you're relaxed, but you're sloppy. Yes or no in the chat? Has anybody been drunk before? And try to make it in your house? I'm talking like, aren't you like, in Italian, we call bagariata. And what that means is drunk. You're like this. You know what I mean? But if you're high, well, you can be relaxed. So, what do you guys think? Could he have just been high? Or a detour? I don't think he ever made it in the house. I don't think he ever made it in. I think there was either two things. As Connie says, and others, Nancy never got in that house that night through the garage. Never made it in that home. Or a combination. He drove up. She didn't make it in the home, but somebody was in that house. Or nobody was in that house. Yeah, I think somebody was in that house. And I know I talked about this the other night. If you're new, like and subscribe, guys. Appreciate it. I know a lot of you, and I talked to law enforcement. If anybody's in law enforcement, call in. Love to hear what you got to think about that, because I know what you're going to say. They're going to say this to me. I already know. No, they couldn't be in the house. And the reason would be very suspicious to get caught, right? Somebody can see you in the house. You move around. There's no way possible. Why not? Why not? There's no street lights. It was very dark, for the exception of a full moon, and that's a fact. So it's possible that somebody who's been in that house before, now stay with me, everybody. It's possible that somebody who's been in that house several times before, who was comfortable with that house, and knowing that they were working together as a team, and they were looking after each other, they're going to be a little relaxed. Now, they're still going to be nervous, but they're not going to be biting their nails and looking after every window. They're just going to be chilled. And if something would happen, and she made it back in that house, or somebody would have rang the bell, well, they already had a plan to escape. And the escape would probably be through that backyard where the pool sits, through that terrain desert, on that full moon, February 1st of 2026. I just want to put that out there, because it's out there. A lot of people, well, I wouldn't say a lot, but streamers, it's not really streamers, but chats are talking about that. So I figured, let's talk about it. Cameron is sneaky. Yeah, why come we don't hear anything on him? How come he hasn't come out, and has he lawyered up? Why hasn't he made any kind of statements? When the streamers were out there, how come we didn't see Cameron? Did Cameron ever make it back and check up on the house? All we see was them, the family, hugging, crying, grieving over the flowers, right? The only people I've seen in the house were pool guys, News Nation, Brian Hinton, landscaping guys, pizza guy, FBI. I might have seen an electrician there, I'm not sure, but that's about it. Hey, Mike, how are you? I agree, Natasha. I think the streamers are like the old black and white that most of us on here used to sit down on Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings, read the comics, the newspaper. But there's no more newspaper, right? What do you have? You have Facebook, Facebook Messenger, YouTube, X, and streamers. And in this case, see, I don't think Pima County, I think they underestimated the streamers. I think they probably thought the streamers would be gone day 7. But the streamers are still talking about it. Even though the streamers aren't out there, which they should be, because it's your First Amendment. But as long as the streamers, like us, and all of us on here, 141, talk about it, then it's not a cold case. Because somebody eventually, either on this channel or somebody else's YouTube, newer, older, bigger, larger, in the middle, will say something. One of the people, somebody, it could be one of you guys in the chat that said something that nobody's heard before. And then the streamer sends it to the FBI. And that could be the missing piece of that puzzle. And with that said, I don't think the streamer is going to go away. I'm not going to go away. Now, I'm not going to talk about it, every day. But somebody will be talking about the days that I wasn't on last night. And somebody was talking about it. If JLR is not on, somebody's going to talk about it. There's so many streamers out there discussing this with their viewers to try to figure out the last piece or two of this puzzle. And who did this horrific crime? So for me, that's the reason it will not go cold. Calvin says, what was it? What'd you say on the roof? Sorry, oh, here it is. Would they ever find out about that roof camera? I haven't heard anything else about that roof camera. It's funny you say that. And what about the sewage, guys? You remember the sewage? Oh, somebody just texted me. Remember they were looking through the sewage? Nothing came of that either. Oh, here it is. Oh. Oh, okay. Hey, okay. Oh, okay. I was talking about a poll. I'm not going to read word for word, but thank you for sending me that. Okay. I'll try it next time. Hey, whoever sent me that, high five, fist bump. Thank you so much. It's about the poll. Because I used to be able to just hit poll and throw a simple question in, and it was kind of neat, and run it for an hour and see what happened. Got it. Thank you so much for sending me this. I don't want to play around with it right now, but in the future lives, because I used to do a lot of polls, guys, a year ago, and then it took that future that was easier for me to put in there. Greetings, hey John, how are you from Mexico? How can I get in touch with you? Folks, if you want to get in touch with me, I pinned the number on the bottom. 702-447-9027. That's the best way to get in touch with me if you want to talk tonight. If you really want to send me a message, you can also send me a text message to that number I just said. And another way, you can find me on Facebook. But if you want to call in, there's the number. Yeah, James, I just read your message. Watson, how are you? Yeah, call-ins. We're only going to call in and discuss Nancy Guthrie. She owed the cartel money. She was, I'm going to rule that out. I can be wrong. Cartels, they don't usually go after her. I'm almost ruling that out. Plus, they would have kept the body. That's how they work. And I was also going to say, normally go after young ladies. I'm not going to get into that. It's too graphic, and there's no need to. But you could be right. You could be right. Natasha. Yep, I agree. Joe. I'm reading your comment, Joe, to myself here. I love you, Joe. Big Mac. Big Mac says she was the lead witness in the billion, would it be, of Medicaid fraud. Thank you for a comment, Big Mick 007. Appreciate you. Samantha, how are you? The guy driving the blue car took her. He's the one carrying the backpack. Great comment. Follow the money. Saint M1. Yeah, I just not convinced on that drug cartel stuff. They normally, we know that, guys. I mean, it's not the movies. It's realistically, when they do these things, it's usually young women that go to Mexico, or they abduct them here. They have abduct people with money, but they're gonna want a real ransom. They're gonna show the person. They're gonna keep the person alive until they receive the funds. So. At least that's what I would think. Unless, and I hate to go outside the box too much, unless Pima County was involved with the drug cartels, and that would be a whole different live that we can talk about. But I'm not going to talk about that tonight. But we'll get your heads thinking, right? Oh, Joe, okay, perfect. Oh, so you send me that. Thank you. Thank you. Big Nick, I didn't know that. Did anybody else know that? I'll read it. She was the Medicaid editor. Victor, I see your comment, and I think it's time for water. No call-ins tonight. Nobody in law enforcement, FBI, CSI. Hey, congratulations to my granddaughter. She works for the CSI and got promoted, but she can't call in. I can't. It's like a nepotism. I can't get in. Oh, excuse me. You're too big now. You can't call in the Grandpa's show? No. Anybody in CSI? Any doctors? Psychiatrists? Psychologists? Anyone that lives in Tucson, in the foothills? You could be anonymous. Be restricted, private. Tell us what you know, what you're hearing, what you're seeing. How about the perp? The perp want to call in? Anybody involved? Do you know who the perp is? Did you see something? Did you hear something? Did somebody pay you off? Guess what? If you were paid off, it's not too late, my friend. Not too late. Tell the authorities what you know. Tell the authorities who's involved. And guess what? They'll work with you, my friend. They'll work with you. As long as you didn't actually do the crime, but you know. Oh, sure they will, Mr. YouTube. Yes, they will. It's not too late. Just saying. But who wants to call in? Who were these people? Was this a perfect crime? Was this one of those perfect crimes? Will it just be a cold case? I don't think so. I gave my reasons. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Greg says, I don't think she's in this country. Well, Greg, my wife Maribel agrees with you. She agrees with you. So, she went south, I'm telling you. I messaged you before that in all investigations is what were, why, how, and where, but why. Whoa! That's a lot of stuff. But yeah. Let's get 100 likes. Yes, let's do that. Thank you. Thank you, guys. We got 90 likes. Let's get 10 more likes. Can we do that? Shirley, how are you? I don't know. A church pastor. Good point, Shirley. I'm still reading, Shirley. Well said. Everybody take the time to read that message. Great comment. Lots of great comments in here, guys. Great comment, Victor. She was on the show, Victor. She was on the Nancy Grace show. Excuse me. She was on the SAVANNAH Guthrie show. But no, guys, I just think that it's a simple, it's that simple. You know, we don't know about a car. We're going with AI and all this other stuff. Assuming it could be a truck, it could be a car, it could be a tractor, it could be a motorcycle, it could be a horse. You know? Well, we don't even know. There might not, ladies and gentlemen, there maybe was no damn car. The only car could have been from A&T, which was 5 miles down the street. That was probably the car. We don't know. And I'm going to say this, guys. The Galata guy, who's going to rehab / witness protection. Not going to be the last we see that guy. We're going to see him again in September 10th, right, where he'll get a sentence. Now, his sentence could be anywhere between 2 years and 10 years. But if he talks, and they got him sober, and he talks and beep-bop, beep-boop, and he tells the truth, and they can confess, and he gives them the whereabouts, or he gives them, I'm just saying, he could have just been somebody desperate for money. I hate to bring it up again. But he also could be part of this connection, of this network. I'm going to call it a network team that did this terrible crime. But I've talked to people, and people still think there's just one person. That one person could have done this crime. Could have took this smaller, lighter weight, 84-year-old woman over their back in those foothills on a full moon night of February 1st and got into a vehicle, probably not a motorcycle, probably or a truck, and just drove away very carefully and done all this? Well, sure, it's possible. So I wanted to talk about, I think there's more than one, and why nobody's ratting them out. I'll tell you why in a minute. I'll tell you guys why in a second. See, in organized crime, mafia, Mexican cartel, 90% will rat to get a lighter sentence, right? Because they've probably done some horrible things. And there's a person that lives in Arizona. He's a rat. His name is Salvatore too. It's called Sammy the Bull. Big rat. Now, I'm not going to get in off subject. But they'll rat because their life's on the line. And that guy there, he did hardly any time. I don't like rats. But why, if there's three people, three's a crowd, why wouldn't they rat each other out? Well, there's one possibility. And that possibility could be that they're unalive already. That they had a sudden whatever, or that person, that perp, or whoever did it, unalive them, or they unalive themselves. Option number one. Option two, allegedly, if it's the family, and I'm not talking about organized crime family, I'm talking about loved one family, they have this bond that goes so deep that it would take money, big amount of money to go the wrong way, to rat. Well, wait a minute, Sal. It's been 5 months. No, they didn't get the money yet. Stay focused, guys. No house has been sold. No life insurance policy's been cashed out. No whatever. 401k. Piece of land somewhere. So, doesn't that make sense in the chat? There's no reason to chat. Unless somebody says something very hard, or somebody can't sleep at night and put their head on that pillow and it's bothering them so much, and they feel of guilt, and they were like the backseat passenger in the car. So that makes sense why nobody ratted. So either one, they unalived themselves, or somebody unalived them. Maybe. Two, it is possibility, allegedly, the family. Because if this was three people, Manny, Mo, and Jack, all involved, 2 men, 1 woman, 1 woman, or 3 men, who really didn't have a bond, maybe met at a bar, played golf together, in prison together, well, they would rat. They would rat probably on day 10, 12, 14 at the most, right? Well, not all the time, but by now would rat. So that explains why I still think there's 2 or 3, probably not 4, but at least 2 or 3, and that's the reasons why no one's rat coming out and saying something, because there's no money there. They haven't got any money yet, right? The money's in the oven, right? It's warm, the money. It's ready. It's getting close. But they can't do anything with it. What money? Oh, well, there could have been a safe. There could have been $1 million in a case. There could have been I would hope to goodness they weren't doing this over $10,000. It could have been a couple thousand in a safe. But those are the reasons why nobody's going to rat, unless you had somebody, 2 or 3 people that knew each other from jail, prison, or something like that. If that's the case, and it's not the family, and it's what I just said, trust me, and they're still alive, I would say very soon something will be coming out. Somebody will have a few drinks one day. Somebody will get high someday. Somebody will have an extra birthday piece of cake one day. Somebody will have a sugar high, whatever. But I don't think that. I think it's still allegedly the family. And that's the reason. There's too much of a bond. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Get a little light on here. Yeah, UNC alert. Elbow. Thank you. Hey, thank you so much for the gifts tonight. Appreciate it on this live stream. Once again, if you want to call in and give something totally different, what I was talking about, or some of the comments on here, 702-447-9027. Call in and you can be anonymous. Call unknown, restricted, if you like, and discuss if there's something that you wanted to say on some other stream or on this stream. Kelly, once again, thank you so much. Is there something that none of us have heard before, right? Like, for an example, I'll just give you one. Is there a possibility they came in through the back of the desert of her Nancy Guthrie's house? Just to give one example, like, you know. Is that possible? So something we haven't heard. Distant relative. You know, I'm just giving you some example. A painter of the house years ago, months ago. Landscaper. Somebody from the church. So anybody want to call in and give something that's just been, you want to talk about? Maybe you're just too shy to talk about it, and now you're like, I want to talk about it. Well, now's the time to call in. The timeline is completely fabricated. Oh, yeah. We don't even know the truth about all that. Pima County's been all over the place with that. It is very possible they entered the back of the property. It's possible. It was a full moon. That we know. Full moon, right? They had some light. It's a possibility. I do too, Greg. I've said it from Greg pretty much from day one. As soon as we knew that he was the last person, I'm like, well. Natasha, yeah, exactly. Right. So that's why I said, because people will say to me or other streamers, if there was Natasha in the chat, if there was 2 people, 3 people, we would rap by now. And that is true, but not if they haven't got any money. The only way, if it was the family and they haven't gotten the money yet, assuming they haven't gotten anything, right? The only way they would rat, or one person would rat, if they was bothering them so much, if they were literally in the back seat, and I don't mean like in the back seat of the car, you guys know what I mean. They were literally like the watch guy, you know, the watch guy, the person who just watches. Well, they're just as guilty, but it's not too late for that person who's the watch guy or a watch woman, because if they do the right thing, they might not get life in prison. I'm being honest, if somebody's watching. But if it's bothering them so much for the last 5 months, 5.5 to be exact, in that area, that they can't sleep right, they can't eat right, they can't do their normal things, well, guess what? They're gonna eventually call the authorities, or they're going to tell another family member, 2 or 3, they're going to tell their associate, the person who was behind this horrific crime. And then when they tell the person, we all know what's going to happen. And that, my friends, could break the case. And then there is that other option. If they have a few drinks one night, or they go to a restaurant, they eat, and somehow it comes out. And I'm not talking next month, 2 months, but like November, Thanksgiving, and they start to blab. When you drink a little bit, you get a little relaxed, too relaxed, and you say something. It can be something like, how about the flower pot, or something that somebody can hear that could lead to opening up or tipped in this investigation. But ladies and gentlemen, I think that the FBI is strongly watching the family members, and I think they're also watching a few neighbors, and I think they're watching, they have a few suspects. I think they've broken down now to about 5 suspects, maybe 7, and I'm sure about every other day they are watching, listening. We just don't see it. We don't hear it because they can't. And I think it's going to be a break. It's going to happen, folks. It will happen. Rosalind says the son-in-law is a loser. I would love to ask him a couple questions, you know? Would love. From one Italian to another, I would love. Give me 5 minutes with that guy. That's all. And that came out wrong. You know what I mean by the 5 minutes. No, none of this fighting. Just give me 5 minutes with him. Crystal, how are you? Robert, how are you? Joe, I'm taking you with me to Tucson. Get ready. A few weeks. I gotta have some cigar. George, I'm doing well. How are you, buddy? 100% family. Anybody else? 100% family. Not 90. 100. Barbed Wire. Shout out to Barbed Wire. Thank you so much. Always help sponsoring today's live and helping out the homeless. Once again, guys, we help out the homeless. If you're new to this channel, we do have shorts every day helping out the homeless. So 100% of proceeds, unless somebody says get a cigar or a drink, I'll go ahead and do that. But thank you so much. How's Cedar? You know, Cedar City. How's Cedar City? I've been there several times, George. I've been to multiple plays there. A friend of mine, Mike, has a beautiful home right there, that where they have the plays at. Love Cedar City. One of my favorite places. I know you're saying, really? Beautiful. And I love driving up to Duck Creek. And one of my favorite places other than Lake Tahoe. Cedar City, Utah. Great people there. It's the truth. Big Mick, reading your comment. Who else is new tonight? Anybody else new on this channel tonight? Breaking down, discussing Nancy Guthrie, missing now over 5.5 months. Appreciate you guys being here. Ani 12's here, new. Utah, I'm only about 3 hours. Cedar City's what? 2.5, 3 hours? George, I thought about, I'm getting a little off topic, but I love it so much, George. If I can convince my wife, I'd move there. I'd move there. Billy, thank you so much, Billy French. Thank you. We got East Tennessee in the house. Where are you guys coming in from tonight? East Tennessee. We got Utah, Cedar City. We got dogs barking. We got no call-ins tonight. other. No doubt they will ever find the truth. I think they will. We got New York, we got Texas, we got West Virginia, we got Sir Daniel in the house from New York. We got Seattle in the house, Pelon. We got Seattle. Betsy, say hello to Pelon. We got 105 likes. Thank you, Joe. You're one of those. Oh, Debbie. Wonder if they question. Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that. Savannah's ex-husband. Whoa, yeah. You wonder. Probably, right? We got Vegas in the house. Of course we have Vegas. Are you a top or bottom? We have Atlanta in the house. Southern. Of course we got Southern Jersey. We got Violin, Brixton, Millville, and Hamilton. Cherry Hill. Egg Harbor Township. Atlantic City. Of course we got Oregon. Fishing, camping, Rocky Mountains, and high Colorado. I'm jealous. I would love to smoke a cigar there in Utah. All right, in Colorado and Utah. And you. Oh, I know, George. I spent about, during the pandemic, I spent George, I spent about a week there with one of my Mormon friends. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'll try to figure it out. We're not talking about Lindsey Graham tonight. May he rest in peace. But thank you. I appreciate it. We'll be talking about that perhaps tomorrow. I never been there, Texas. I'd like to go. But what do you guys think? Are we getting close to finding where Nancy's remains? Oh, good. Cool, George. Yeah, I have my buddy Mike is head of the church there, and we actually hang out. We drink our Diet Cokes together, and I smoke a cigar, and he does too. Just kidding. But but I love it. One of my favorite places. If you send a super chat, we'll go help the homeless. Absolutely 100%, but you don't have to do anything but be with the Lord and pay taxes. But yes, we have homeless out there every day. But only do that if you can do it. Thank you. Yeah, I agree, Texas. Oh, you're talking about Tennessee. Yes. Man, the humidity here tonight. See, I'm sweating. Vegas, you normally don't get humidity. We got about, I'm going to guess it's 40% humidity right now. I'm sweating. Means it's going to rain. They call it monsoon season. Tucson, Arizona as well. Don't think we're ever going to find her? Who in the chat thinks we will never find Nancy Guthrie? No, I'm not. Buddy Khan. Yeah, I think Nano's probably a lot more. Probably a lot more. Yeah, at 83% humidity, I don't think I could take it anymore. I used to live in Jersey and Philly, and used to get 100% humidity. Heat index was 115 in some Julys and August. It was crazy. But I like a little humidity, but not, like right now is okay. Got to be positive. Joe? I'm positive on this. I'm not just saying it. I'm real positive. I really think, Joe, that it's going to break because of what I just said. No mosquitoes tonight, Adam, but we do have them. I get them because I have a pool, but we don't get them that. Every now and then, I'll get bit on my toe. Mosquito, Adam. South Philly and South Jersey, Vineland. It'd be great. Wouldn't it be great, guys, to, I say this on almost every live, to put on the news or put on the YouTube and here they found Nancy? Wouldn't that be great? It'd be amazing. Connie dropping a $20 donation. Food for the pets, Sal. Food for the pets of the homeless. Absolutely, Connie. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I picked up, Connie, a few cans of dog food. And I'm going to get some more. So thank you so much. High five, fist bump. Show Connie some love, helping supporting this channel, and helping out the homeless. And I actually left, it's funny, Connie, I left a few cans out in the car, and Maribel says, oh, no, it's no good now. So we threw it away. But I got a few more cans, and now I'll be able to get some more cans. And what I like to get for the pets is, you know, they don't need a can opener, of course. Now they make the flips. You just flip it open, and they can just eat out of the can. We love our pets, and we take care of our homeless, but we got to take care of the pets. And that's their medicine. You know, some of them who are had some bad luck, lost a loved one, lost a spouse, lost a child, they didn't recover. They don't want to depend on anybody. And they bring their pets to give them some hope, to relax them. And the $20 donation from Connie, along with many others, can help and make a difference for a few homeless people. But most important, they like a smile. They like a cup of coffee, and their pets certainly like a little dog food, so they can keep their pets going. They need to eat. So a lot of people say why they have pets. Well, comfort, release stress. Will Adam, you think so, huh? Family has PTSD? It's possible. Why would the sheriff help cover up? Isn't that a great question? You know, Lindsay, if you're asking me, if it comes down to, I hate to make it political, Lindsay, but, you know, if it has to do with, you know, somehow or another, major money being involved in politicians' hands, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, you know, you hate to think, nah, there's no way. I mean, maybe not, but it's a possibility. Money does terrible things. You know, it could be that. It could be, you know, I just want to put this out there because somebody said in the chat room, you know, I mean, she was a beautiful, let's face it, Nancy was an attractive looking woman, guys, okay, when she was younger. And I want to say this, you know, I want to separate him being a piece of shit, NANOS, but you could tell he was a decent looking guy. Who knows? I'm just putting this all out there, guys, and I only had a half a can, guys. I just want a friendly conversation. Did they even have some kind of a nonchalant relationship? Maybe not, but maybe. So, yeah, it could be a couple things. Or maybe the sheriff was just, they're not involved at all. But, you know, money, if it's regarding the HOA, you know, a lot of the money supports, the Pima County, the district attorney's office. You would hope not, but trust me, it goes on. It goes on in the red states, and it goes on in the blue state. Don't ever forget it. Not as far as a kidnap, murder investigation, but it does happen. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that the sheriff could have had a relationship with Nancy. You know, I don't know their age. Can somebody look up Nano's age? But, you know, it doesn't matter. Men date older women. Some men date younger women. Kim Wells is in the house. Hello, Kim. Always great to see you in the chat rooms. Victoria, how are you? Good to see you. So, for those who are coming in, we were just talking about a couple different things, but most recently, is Pima County involved? And if they are, why would they turn their back and be involved? And I'm not saying they were involved as far as the kidnap, but will they turn their back because of money, because of politicians, because of, and then also, is there a possibility that NANOS himself dated Nancy? You know, so these are the things that we're discussing among, was there somebody in the house that night? And the porch guy never even made it in the house. It very well could have been the family, or very well could have been somebody sitting in the house. So that's the things we've been chit-chatting for an hour and a half now. So thank you for being here. Happy Wednesday. Joe says, I'm wondering, Sal, if NANOS knows where's the body is and will solve the crime when it's his advantage. You know, that is a great comment too, Joe. Joe, I'm going to read it again. It's so good. I'm wondering, Sal, if NANOS knows where the body is, if, and will he solve the crime when it's his advantage, meaning because he has an ego. I hate to put words in your mouth, Joe, but I am, because he has this big ego. You know, everything is like 80%'s got to be his way or no one's way. And I know this for a fact because I know FBI agents that worked in Arizona, and they said it's a big, rapid turnover in Pima County because he has this big ego temper. So, very good comment. Kim says Nancy Guthrie case is a roller coaster ride. Case. Twists and turns. All over. Well said. But, Joe says, I'm positive, and I'm not just saying it, I am very positive that sooner or later there's going to be a break in his case, and it's going to be due to what everything I just said a few minutes ago on 2 people, 3 people who done this crime, and when they cash in on whatever it might be, life insurance, property, savings, IRA, you get it, etc. See, nobody's going to rat because there's no money being dispersed. Nobody got any money. There's no reason to rat unless somebody has guilt. There's that possibility. And that's why I don't think it was 3 strangers. And I keep saying 3 because I still think there's 3. I just don't think one person can carry out this crime. However, other YouTubers, no disrespect, and a cousin of mine, former Marine, he says, Sal, cousin, I think it's one person. So everybody has their own. Did Spain win? Is it Spain in real quick off topic? Is it Spain and Argentina in the finals? Well, Kim, it's all facts that he's corrupted. I mean, we don't have the facts that he's corrupted exactly yet, Kim, on this Nancy Guthrie, but he's corrupted in other ways. I mean, he has a track record, and you wonder how he keeps getting elected. It's like an organized crime. It's like worse than a mob. But nonetheless, I agree. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Feeling good on this Wednesday. You know, and again, for those who are coming in, perhaps from other streams or just waking up, I don't know if you're waking up or just saying hi. I just want to say this. Our prayers and thoughts. Assuming some of the families are not involved, they need justice, right? But I'm not ruling out somebody was sitting in that house, standing in that house, 30 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours prior to this horrific kidnap homicide. I live in Las Vegas. He's a gambler. Well, Linda, yes, I've heard that. It could be true. It doesn't mean he would be guilty in this, but it could make sense on how sloppy and going to Arizona State basketball, this, that, whatever. They have the right to gamble, but not under a huge investigation, a kidnapping investigation. No, Jace, I'm going with a house blend. It's a Dominican Ecuador wrapper. It's a good cigar from a cigar house that I go to. It's a really good, smooth cigar. I got away from VSG tonight. Kissing a Dream. Hey, stop for a quick moment to say hello. Kissing a Dream. Hello, hello. Yes, I'm in Vegas. Appreciate you guys being here. And thank you for the memberships. Thank you for the donations. Thank you so much. Shout out to Connie. Ardell, the fat guy, says, hello, Sal. What about me over here? I'm here. I'm here. Shout out to Maribel. You don't say hi to me. I'm your wife in your house. Subscribe to Maribel Parrot 4. She has a bird channel. Canors and Ringnecks. Birds. Birds Going Wild. Great title. Birds Going Wild. Trying to get 500 subscribers so she can go live. Or no, she can go live already. So she can get monetized. Sorry, she can go live already. Oh, I do too. Kissing a Dream. I do too. Big Mick. And Big Mick, thanks for your comments tonight. It's not unnoticed. It's hard to read them all, guys. Don't get upset at me if I don't read them all. Sometimes I just read, you know, to myself, but thank you. I'll read this one out loud, though. She never got home. Joe, 1 month membership. Forget about it. Once you're in, you can't get out. She never got back home set up looking for the evidence and her laptop. Son-in-law involved. Allegedly, Big Mick 007. Joe renewing his membership. Once you're in the family, you can't get out. That's it. Fanud. It's over. Enjoy that CAO Nicaragua. It's a good cigar. CAOs are good. I used to like the CAO Triple Maduro. Whoa! Joe's sending a membership. User VT6GZ5Do9M. If you're on here, say thank you to Joe. I know Joe's saying it's my pleasure. Joe's always sending out members. New members. We thank you, Joe. Show Joe some love and congratulations, user. So we got no call-ins tonight. Nobody, no law enforcement's calling in. No CSI, no FBI. That's a good cigar. You got my kind of taste. I've had it. Jace. I haven't had it in about 3 months, though. Maybe 4. Maribel says he better slow down on the cigars. Forget about it, Maribel. Joe says 125 likes. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Kim, thank you so much. Appreciate it. It was Kim, it was great to see Alex back on after taking a few days off. You know, it's tough, guys, going live every day. That's why I took a day off myself. But it was good to see Alex. I was in there for a little bit. And then, of course, on my live. Sorry, Birds Going Wild and Birds Going Wild popped in at the last second. Birds Going Wild. My wife has a bird channel. It's just a good title. I think it's a good title. Maybe it's not. You know, cigars bring good conversation. Kissing the Dream. I like them. Now, moderation, like anything else, right? Like anything else. Frank. ¿Cómo está? Molto bene. How's Frank? How's my Italian friends tonight? Where's all the Italians at in here? Whoa. Don't worry. I'll get to the Irish and the blacks and the Puerto Ricans and the Caucasians. Gotta have fun, guys. We're at the tail end here, so good to see Frank. Alex, 100%, 1,000%. Love the guy. I don't like those, Sir Daniel, too much. They're okay. Violin, Millville, Bridgeton. I'm going to nickname everybody in here. Victor's like, but my favorite's VSG. Sorcerer. Spellbond and Sorcerer. God bless the Germans. God bless the Germans, Philippines, Chinese. I say African Americans, gays, bis. Hello, this is Sal. Who's this?
Oh, hi. I'm calling from YouTube.
Okay, what's your name?
Oh, it's Eli.
What's going on?
So you think it's what they're saying, like with the family type of thing?
Yeah, I thought so from the beginning, based on the facts that we have. If the facts are correct, you know, who took them home and that kind of stuff. Until yeah, I think it's the family. Allegedly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it was weird because when I saw that on the news, and then they kind of stopped, like, you know, like they showed that, and then that's the last thing I saw was.
What's your thoughts? What's your perspective? Do you think are you ruling out the family?
I mean, I think that it was kind of. Sorry, I think it was. No, I mean, at first I really didn't know, but then.
Right.
I mean, to be honest, yeah. I mean, it seems like it kind of makes it seems like it.
Well, like somebody just said a little while ago, I think it was Kim. It's like a roller coaster. It's all over the place, you know, and you can't help to think that. But sometimes we just got to go outside. We go outside that box too much and go right back inside. And what do we know? Who took them home? There's no evidence of any kind of car, you know, that kind of stuff. And I'm sure, at least every other day, that the FBI is looking at the family very closely.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, okay. Well, thank you. I just was calling for a second. I enjoy your podcast.
Oh, I appreciate it. Anything else you want to add? I mean, do you think well, let me ask you this. Is there any possibility Nancy's alive?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, they haven't got any proof of the body. There's always that chance, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you calling in. You're the first person to call in tonight, so thank you so much, and thanks for your support, and have a great rest of your evening and a great Thursday ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Take care. Thank you. Amen, Lindsay. You know, got to keep Nancy's name out there. I mean, you know, I'm not saying talk about it every night, but you're going to have so many streamers, and if you're just coming in late, the reason I don't think it's going to be a cold case is because the streamers. You know, we had the black and white newspaper before. I continue to say that. We don't have that anymore. The news ain't going to keep it going. I mean, maybe every now and then Brian Aiton will keep it going. But other than that, so it will not be a cold case because it could be somebody on here tonight. It could be somebody on one of the other bigger networks that can put out some, hey, you haven't heard this. And the streamer might turn that in or go into the FBI, and that could be a lead. So as long as you have people discussing the Nancy Guthrie, and then the case is very well going on, right? Until there's no more leads and there's absolutely no more talk about it, then it would be a cold case. And I don't think it's going to be. Ann Kay, how are you? Welcome in, first of all. Good to see you. God bless. I'm just here. What's the breaking news? Breaking news is we're just discussing on a lot what's going on online, possibilities of somebody being in that house that night on February 1st, was waiting for Nancy to come home from the dinner, possibilities of what happened as far as the mask guy never even made it in the house. And most importantly, this case is not going to be cold because of all the streamers and News Nation, I guess a little bit of Fox and maybe CNN, fairness, keep it going. That's no cold case. It'll still be out there. And I think there's going to be a break. I think somebody will get sloppy. It might even be, as I believe it was Joe who said, I believe it was Joe and some others, maybe Pima County themselves stumble along and wait behind and find out what happened and take all credit. I mean, it can be anything. So we got to, you just took the words in my mouth. Let's pray and hope. William says it's the cartel. Well, you're not alone, William. I just don't see it. But you're not alone, William 12 or William T. 2s. There's several people out there that still think it's the drug cartel. I just don't think so. And for the obvious reasons, because 90% of the time, maybe 85% of the time, they would show, if there was a ransom letter saying they were real, they would show an audio of Nancy. Whether it was 5 seconds, 20 seconds, there was nothing like that. So I'm ruling that out. Unless, and I don't want to go too much into this, there's cahoots with Pima County and the drug cartels in Mexico. I would say hope not, but who the hell knows anymore? Who else thinks it could be the drug cartel or the cartel in this chat? Anybody else think it still could be a possibility? I mean, anything is a possibility, right? Yeah, I know, Kim, but unfortunately, he probably can go out there, but I wouldn't take that chance. Certainly any of those guys and girls that got, because they would make something up. I mean, it's their First Amendment right. They should have never got it, and all these charges being dropped, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now, me, on the other hand, I might be out there. I won't be right in front of the house, but I'll be asking and will get some of the tough questions from Pima County. Might not be from Chris NANOS himself, but yeah, I don't recommend Alex to, particularly I think he has one more case ready to get dropped. So unfortunately, the best thing for him is to lay low. I just don't trust him. It's like an organized mob. But they did drop those charges. They had no choice, I think. I think they had no choice. The DA had no choice. I think it was up to NANOS. He would have kept them, though. Amen. Renee Lester. I'm not sure, but God knows what happened and who did it. God knows. And they will get caught, whether it was one person or two or three. They were all going to get caught. Assuming they're all alive, too. Because there is that possibility if there's three, one could be unalive, two could be unalive. But I don't think so. Too much would have came out if one was unalive. Something would make noise out there. Edward, welcome in. Good to see you. I wonder what AI would say. I don't know. Look it up. See, Kim, I think they were probably waiting for JLR. They were probably waiting for Joe Smith, me, whoever. You, anybody. Anybody has a camera. They were just waiting on more. And I think the DA and the sheriff is in bed together. And I think the DA could be the one that can break, in my opinion, Kim, real quick, I hope I didn't lose you, could break and have Chris NANOS step down or go into retirement. Because she is younger. She has more years to go. He has less years to go. And she's not going to take the fall. See, that's how politics are. They do it on the right, they do it on the left. Don't ever forget it. So they can all come down on NANOS. And I think that's how they'll force NANOS, for me, to go into retirement. And that might happen sooner than later. But he was hoping to get more people. He was hoping for a real crime, like somebody actually to go into the Nancy Guthrie's driveway, and then he would have nailed them for trespass. Natalie Hopkins comes in and says, hello, how's Natalie doing? Shout out to Natalie Hopkins, a loyal subscriber from way back. Love to see my subscribers from way back. For those who are saying good night, sleep well, have a great Thursday and a great rest of your evening. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay positive. Not just on Nancy Guthrie, but stay positive as an individual. But that's who he is, Kim. The pacemaker thing is kind of a curveball. It really is. It really is. It's almost like they just kind of planned this out. I mean, I was on somebody's live the other night. I think this was planned out for several months. But yeah, even in the pacemaker. Even the front door being locked. Even the wreath that never got off the house. I was going to say Christmas wreath. I don't know. It looked like to me like a holiday wreath. Even the mat that never got into the lab and analyzed the blood. They put the white tent up. The doors being broke in the back. All this. It's like they were playing chess. And they were like 10 pieces ahead of Pima County. Where's Cash? I think Cash Patel's working behind the scenes. But I hear you, though. I feel you. I get where you're going. And you don't think he's going to retire? I think he will. I think you're going to make him retire. They'll come up with something. Hey, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all the likes. Looks like the Wi-Fi went off and back on. If it goes off again, let's see. I think we're okay, though. Anything else? Anybody else want to call in and give us something that you wanted to say for a long time, and on as far as this Nancy Guthrie's kidnap? Is there something we haven't heard yet? Did they go through the backyard? Did they park the car down the street? No car? More than 3 people involved? Or just one person? Is the politicians involved? Gary, how are you? Does anyone know where A&T are? No, nobody really knows. They could be in like a witness protection. They could be in another state. They could be literally 10 miles away, 5 miles away. Certainly they're not. Well, we see, that's another thing. We don't even know if they're back in their house because there's no streamers there, right? But assuming when they were there, you didn't see much of them. They lured up. They got a lawyer, folks. Don't let it kid you. A&T have a lawyer. And he's a good lawyer. They have a good lawyer. Trust me. And the FBI knows that. But I still think it's going to be a break in this case. I think the FBI might be a couple steps ahead now recently. I think they're ready to break it. They just got to be very careful to make sure they have the direct evidence, because they go into this case just based on, well, it's the last people who've seen them. That's not going to solve it. That won't win on a jury, right? They're going to come out in a hung jury. You can't just go by that. You got to have evidence. Got to be something, a hair, blood. Even if somebody comes out and rats, still not a slam dunk, guys, right? Still not a slam dunk. Got to get the remains. Got to get a body part. Got to get something back. Even if somebody says, oh, it was them, still not enough. So that's another reason. They got to put that whole puzzle together. If they're missing one piece, it's done. They're free to go. And they're off to Jipip land. And that's over. And then they cash in. And even that would make them guilty, right? Because who cares what we think? All they care is what they think. So that's another reason why it's taken long. It would have to be somebody, assuming there is 2 or 3 people, for that person to tell them where Nancy is buried or remains are buried. Bring them there, plea bargain, tell them how it happened, where the weapon is, or the sheet that was covered her up, or the plastic, or the rope. You guys get it. And then that would be the last piece of that puzzle to put that person in prison or the death penalty or people. Yeah, she's taking time off because of the World Cup is what I heard. I'm just saying, Edward, I'm not believing that. But what I heard, Edward Curtis, is she took time off because she wanted to enjoy the World Cup. Is why she's taking time off. I mean, you know, people need to escape for things, you know. Could be true. Or it could be other reasons, you know. But that's what I heard. She wanted to enjoy some of the World Cup. Which I didn't watch much this year. I watched France the other day and one game of USA. But yeah, that's what she's put out. She's put that out. It's on Google too. There's some people think that Savannah herself is still somehow involved or knows about it and doesn't want to break up the family. That she knows. But it's like, okay, I lost my mom. Now I can lose. You guys fill in the blank, you know? So that would make her just as guilty, right? If she does know something or heard something, just for conversation, allegedly, that would make her as guilty. We had law enforcement that called in a month ago or 3 weeks ago, and I think 2 or 3 of them called in, or 2 called in, and 2 of them both agreed that Savannah herself was involved. My pleasure. Keeping Nancy going. Keeping her name out there. And the family should be doing the same thing, as we said an hour ago. Right? The family should be out there looking. Not every day. I would. I mean, people say, well, how are you going to do that? You got to work if it was your mom. Well, I would go for an hour or 2. You know, I would get some friends and go look for my mom, my brother. May they both rest in peace. My father, may he rest in peace. I would go looking for my neighbor. It could be 2 houses down. My dog, my cat. It's so bizarre. If we're catching the tail end of this live, that the family, what we know, on their defense, we don't know all the details. But when the streamers are there, we didn't see any whereabouts, or News Nation or Fox or CNN. We didn't see any cameras of the family rushing out there with their friends support groups, church groups. They're involved in church, or Nancy was, searching the areas of that desert. What do they call them? The what plants and there. Yeah, I would have never stopped looking. You could still work 8 hours, 10 hours a day. You could still be in New York and fly back on your weekends and, come have dinner and with your family and go spend a day, put on your boots and go boots on ground looking for your mom. You might be the one to find her. So why aren't they looking? Why? Why isn't the brother looking? Why isn't the cousins looking? Don't they have cousins and grandkids? Right? Don't they have friends or neighbors that they were close to? Why aren't they all looking? Where's the volunteers? Where the hell is Tucson? Where's that damn Tucson people there? Are they all just for themselves? Like no heart? It's like the streamers are out there. A few neighbors were doing it. That was below the belt for me, and I apologize. But nonetheless, I know I would. If I was a neighbor, I'd go out there at least once a week and help out. For nothing. For zero. For no money. For nothing. I mean, I know you're full of shit. No, me looking in the camera. I'm not perfect. For nothing. No fame, just to help. You never know. But yeah, I don't understand. It just doesn't make sense. And then another thing I read in the chat room, I forget whose it was. I don't want to make a guess, but it was one of the YouTubers. Somebody said, did Nancy have a boyfriend? And people laugh. Why? Just because you're 84, you don't stop dating. Her husband passed away long ago. Maybe they go to movies together. Right? Maybe they go to church together. Maybe it's just strictly platonic. People have boyfriends and girlfriends. We haven't heard any. We just don't know, guys. I mean, they should have had at least a press conference once a month. FBI will never do a press conference. But Pima County should have been out there. Rose, how are you? Shirley says if the family member is involved. Absolutely. Amen. Amen. Shirley, well said. New tonight. See above comments. First of all, thank you, Diana Gish, 2643. Welcome in. Good to see you. God bless. And you said what? See above comments. See above comments. Even though I thought I knew my mother was dead. I'm reading some comments. Welcome in, everybody. God bless. Complete strangers help faster than the family. Yeah. So, that's so true in life in general, right? It's like sometimes complete strangers will do more than our own family at times, right? And that's in everything, whether it's a homicide, kidnapping. I'm glad I did go back. Including dog and cat. Absolutely. Yeah, Joe. Yeah, the family lack of activity bothers me. Yeah. Yeah, it isn't that true, guys? Sometimes in life, whether it's a holiday celebration or a sickness, and I'm not putting down any of the family, and that's the Italian families are like that in a sense. And I love my family, but it's like sometimes you get a complete stranger that you met one time in a supermarket or two times, or a neighbor that you've known for a couple years, give you more support than your own family. But nonetheless, they should have been looking for they should be out there at least 3 times a week and have search dogs. And they have the money to pay for it. And if you don't have the money, you can raise $10,000 in 1 hour. They can raise $10,000 in 1 hour. We just raised $8,000. Not me. My wife did it. The hell am I taking credit? A woman who has breast cancer, and we raised it. You can raise money if you really need help. But most people would do this stuff for free. You know? Well, the dogs would cost money. But yeah, don't make no damn sense. The whole thing is like a roller coaster. And Ann says, yeah. Let me read that comment. Yeah, people search for missing pets more than Nancy's family and friends search for their own mom. Exactly. Exactly. Family might be being pressured by Big and Tidy's title calls. Paylon, have a good night. So I got that comment. Kim, I'm back. Hey, welcome in, everybody. 138 likes. I appreciate you guys being here. We're in for 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. That's true. It's unfortunate, but it's how families are. It doesn't mean the family's bad, but you know, people get caught up, and sometimes you have a cousin you haven't heard for many years, and then something happens, you get more support from a neighbor. Got dogs barking. And speaking of dogs barking, you know, we never even heard more about the dogs and coyotes that JLR was out there that night. Big Mick, yep. Yeah, I just don't trust the guy. Don't trust him. Last person to supposedly drop mom off. Mother-in-law, mom, mother-in-law. He was Italian, so he probably called her mom. Yeah, Joe. It just, as we put it and we digest this each hour, each day, 5.5 months, all these are great questions about the search, the church. You know, mostly when you're in the church, whether it's online, people that are close to God, and church and prayers, you would think they would be also helping out. Princess, how are you? Yo, Sal, I'm back. Savannah wanted people to know she was considered an Arizona home, and I say that because she took time to put her cowboy boots on when she was there. Certainly wasn't wearing those boots, I think you said, in New York City. Why just drop her off? Wouldn't you see an elderly lady safely in the house, settled? Oh, wow, Rose. Yeah, I don't think she ever made it back in the house, Rose. I think he opened the door for her like he probably always did, or maybe he didn't open the door for her. She took her purse. I don't think she got out. And it's getting late, but I don't think she ever got out. I don't want to be too graphic this late, but 12 a.m. Back east. So many things out there that's taken so very long, all the way to the lab in Florida. So you got to go back to what we know. And again, there's been retired FBI detectives. They all know a little bit more than I do, in the sense of they've been around, they've been boots on the ground, right? But they go a little too far, in my opinion. Okay. Not the interview room. I love the interview room because he's old school. I like how he says don't depend on the DNA. I mean, you depend on it, but go old school, right? And shake. I think he says he uses the term "shake the bushes, shake the trees," old school. But the rest of them, they depend on this AI and seeing a light, seeing it could be a truck, it could be a truck from the '80s. There was a person in the car. He could have been black. He could have been white. They didn't say black or white, but I'm making that up. But there could have been a passenger, another person. The perk had a stuff in his backpack, a GoPro in his backpack, multiple phones in his back. We don't know that. How the hell could you figure that out? I don't care what kind of zooming in you there's no way. In my opinion. Probably had a flashlight in there. You know? Probably had a flashlight. A rope. I'm sure. And I'm not convinced that guy even made it in the house, guys. Let's see. There's enough money in that family to have had a nurse. Absolutely. A caregiver. But we don't know that. I mean, that's another thing, though. Certainly she was alone, but we don't know. Maybe a nurse did pop in here. But yeah, you're right. You would think she would have had a caregiver every day or living there. My mom had a caregiver. Joshua, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, it's almost like what we're saying in the chat is the family. I wouldn't say the family didn't care, but they kind of like they weren't like close, right? Because if they were real close, I would say 97 of us in here would all be looking for our mom or our dad. Kim, have a good night. Thank you for stopping in. But time will tell, guys. As somebody's going to slip. We're going to wrap this up in a little bit. Somebody's going to slip to somebody. It might be tonight or tomorrow. And it's going to say something. Somebody knows something. Somebody seen something. Somebody heard something. All right, guys, what I'm going to do is a 2-minute warning just for everybody who was participating among each other on here tonight and chit-chatting. I'd like to give a little courtesy, like 2 minutes. You guys can say goodnight to each other. Once again, thank you, Connie. Thank you for those who participated in gifts and memberships. And Joe, appreciate you guys. I will be on tomorrow, God willing. I have an MRI. Wish me luck on that. Let's hope it's not torn. Hopefully it's something I don't have to be out of a mission. I mean, I'll be able to do my lives, but my other job will be kind of difficult. So, but I will be back on tomorrow. We might take a direction. We're going to continue covering Nancy Guthrie. Where's Nancy? Why Nancy? Keep her name out there, among other streamers. But we're also going to be covering the latest what's going on with Iran, Israel, and of course, God bless the United States of America. And are we getting close to ending a 48-year war? Or no, it's going to drag on and drag on. And I got some other things I want to talk about as well. But I will be going to Pima County. As long as I'm able to fly or drive, probably drive, I will be there sooner than later. Tammy, welcome in. Read your comment real quick. Yeah, I don't think the streamers were the issue at all. In fact, real quick to respond to that question here as it's been late, I think Pima County had all backfired on them. I think they underestimated the streamers. My opinion, they probably should have had the whole house as a crime scene. No streamers. Hold on. For the first 48 hours, they should have had a designated area. And then all of a sudden, they let the streamers, they let News Nation, Fox, the local news outlets, CNN, all of them out there. And then they just start making up these rules, and there's going to be some huge civil lawsuits down the road. Trust me, I am 100 trillion% that Pima County will have a major lawsuit on the First Amendment. That's your First Amendment, is to film. Breaking a crime is when you trespass, and there was no trespassing, what I ever seen on any other lives. All right, guys, thank you so much. Big Mick, it was a pleasure seeing you in here, and all the new subscribers. Thank you. Guys, I'm out of here. Have a good night, guys. God bless. Hey, real quick, guys, have a great rest of your evening and a fantastic Thursday. Always stay positive. Thank you, Connie. No negative. And that's not just in Nancy Guthrie and praying for justice. I'm just saying in yourself, in your family, because negative doesn't do any good. Positive does good, right? So thank you so much, guys. Take care. Sharon, let's see, real quick. I'll read that. Joe Rogan interview. JD Vance. Oh, I got to see that. Thanks for telling me, Sharon. Thank you. And Sharon, thank you for everything you do in your comments. Take care, guys. Take care.